but the policeman and his two dogs. One night a robber came in to steal some stuff, and the dog started barking. The robber took his gun and shot the dogs in the head. They fell to the ground and bled till they were dead. But they didn't go to heaven. They decided to remain in a world in between, on an alternate plane. They're called the Pickle Man and Mr. Moose. They're orange ghosts and they're on the loose. They are.
My dad took me fishing at the Douglas Lake. I saw Bigfoot, which scared me. When I was going to a Christian Science camp, I saw a UFO in the sky. I lived in two haunted houses, one at 8136 South Ellis, which inspired me to write the song The Pickle Man and Mr. Moose. Two German Shepherd dogs were shot. They came back as ghosts that would tickle me.
Me and my sisters were sleeping.
You were listening to musician, actor, comedian, artist, painter, street performer, puppeteer, and alien abductee David Liebe Hart. You may recognize David from his multiple appearances on the Tim and Eric Awesome Show Great Job, which is on Adult Swim. He's also been on The Golden Girls, The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and The Jimmy Kimmel Live Show as well. Before we get to the interview, I'd like to give a couple of clarifications, much like the show I did on the Ethereans in Hollywood. First off, the raw interview was over an hour long, and like all my shows, I edited it down for time and content. David did discuss issues he has with the Church of Christian Science in much more detail, which you can find in other interviews out there, so I just took it out to keep things interesting and upbeat. Similar things could be said concerning issues David has with Tim and Eric, apparently not properly attaching his ASCAP number to the songs for royalties. You'll find mention of these topics in other interviews too, so I cut these out as well. Secondly, I'd like to point out that although I believe it's very unlikely we're the only advanced life in the universe, I don't see any evidence for anything David believes with regards to extraterrestrials or ghosts. It's still really interesting to learn what theories are out there, though. So with all that said, let's jump right in and talk with David Liebe Hart about trains, Robin Williams, the Church of Christian Science, and ghosts.
I grew up in the 50s in Chicago. My first love was doing artwork. I used to sketch the trains go by in Chicago.
Right.
My first love was the CTA, the Chicago Transit Authority, which now they call the Green Line, the Jackson Park and Inglewood Line, and the Chicago North Shore and Milwaukee Railroad. My first, I wrote songs about trains. I really love trains a lot.
They are the 400 line called Chicago Northwestern. It travels down Chicago, Illinois, all the way to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They were painted green and yellow. They were like a beautiful fellow. They had the F7s.
I'm a member of the Union, Illinois Railroad Museum and something like 15 different railroad museums across the United States. My parents paid for me to have acting at Whitman Theater, and I took ballet and took acting and speech, and went on to LA City College and to different colleges in the Los Angeles, Southern California area. I did stand-up comedy with Robin Williams in the 70s before he made it big on Happy Days and his own spin-off, Mork and Mindy, and he had a long movie career. I was lucky to know him, and I knew many other actors that helped me in my church with my career. I was inspired by a lot of TV shows in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I also had different famous entertainers in the Christian Science church I was raised in that gave me free acting lessons and gave me encouragement to persevere my career. I'm also a songwriter. You can hear my music if you go to artbyliebeHart.com or YouTube or Google Play or Spotify and type in artist David Liebe Hart.
Oh, gentle presence, peace and joy and power, a life divine that owns each waking hour. Now that God, the nestling cold spring flies, now I shout on upward wings tonight.
I've had successes and I've had failures. The hard failure is my own church has refused all my music for many years from their supplement. I am a very liberal, open-minded person, but the Christian Science Publishing Society only wants to publish music by Caucasian people, and they're robbing themselves of a variety of people of color that are famous songwriters and musicians that are Christian scientists that have a lot to tribute to the cause of Christian Science, but it seems like that old conservative racism seems to be rearing its ugly head in our society.
Wow. And I mean, do you still go to the Christian Science reading room?
I still go to the Christian Science church. I do music. I was born and raised in Christian Science. I still study the teachings of Christian Science. They've helped me. They protected me from drugs and alcohol and immorality in our society. I love the teachings of Christian Science. I just don't like the racism and the corrupt people that are on the board of directors that run everything.
And I have a list here of your solo albums here, and it starts with Christian hymn songs of praise.
I have Christian Hymns and Praise Part 1 and Part 2 and Part 3. You can hear it on the internet. I did several albums with Adam Papagan, the David Liebe Hart album. I did with Joan Emotion. I did Astronaut and Go Into the Light album. Yeah, I'm working with Joan Emotion. He's a very brilliant but talented guy. I don't agree with all his ideas of being a vegan or a vegetarian, but I'm learning to have tolerance for being for people that are vegetarians, and I'm learning to be a vegetarian.
Can we go back maybe to you just finished a tour, right? Am I correct? You went down to
I
Australia?
toured all over the United States. I'm going to be touring. I'm Friday. Mo, who wrote a beautiful article about me in the LA Weekly.
I saw that.
Unfortunately, the LA Weekly didn't put it in their paper. You can only see it online. Mo is going to having me go to Portland to do music with him, which is going to take up a lot. And then I had another fan, Sammy, who's very talented, that owns 2 music stores, and Florida. And I toured at Florida in October when I finished touring with Joan Emotion. And then I'm going to North Carolina to do the Comic-Con. I've done the Comic-Con.
Nice.
New technology is our philosophy. We put a man on the moon without balloons. New technology is our philosophy. The aliens gave it to us, can't you see? They built the pyramids and Egypt and the first.
And these last few albums, I noticed that they're mostly sort of related to like space.
Yeah, UFOs. I've written a lot of songs about UFOs because I've experienced the UFO phenomenon face to face. When I used to sell my portraits at La Brea Tar Pits, I met 2 extraterrestrial women living among us. Jessica Ortiz, who was from Star Corridor, and Marcama, and I met Jessica Ortiz way back in the 80s, and she told me that there was going to be a black president, and she told me that she shared stuff with me before it happened, and she told me the extraterrestrials believe in that we live on, they believe in reincarnation, and she told me that I lived in her dimension, in her planet, a long time ago. Jesus also believed in reincarnation. All the Protestants and the Catholics and the Judaism took out the pseudepigrapha from the Bible, and the Jewish people call the Bible the Holy Scriptures because they don't use the New Testament, and they use the Book of Maccabees. They took out the pseudepigrapha because it talked about the UFO phenomenon pretty big time in the Book of Enoch.
So my last name's McGuire, and I was reading up on this, and you say that the Irish are actually descendants of the Omegans.
The Irish are a descendant of a race called the Omegans. They're from Star Caladan, which is 800 light years away from Earth. The Omegans worked a lot with the Vikings, and they worked a lot with they worked a lot with the Romans. The Omegans built the Nazca Plains. Their kids do the graffiti of the crop circles. The crop circles are done by extraterrestrials, and they're giving us signs and wonders that we need to take care of our planet. We're destroying our planet with all the pollution, and that's why we're having global warming, and those are the puzzles that are and the Omegans. Unfortunately, one thing what breaks my heart, and I was friends with the Omegans contacted me too at one time, Mel Drummond, and I'll tell you, Custos Veris means good friends, and Omegan, and I was the only thing I love the Omegans, and I love my side that's Irish and Scottish, but it breaks my heart that the aliens haven't been able to overcome war. The Corinthians and the Omegans have had a 200-year fighting over space territory, which I love the Omegans and I love the Corinthians. They've given us both a lot of back engineering technology. We wouldn't have the computers, the cell phones, the camera, or the TV, or the microwave, or fiber active that is used through all the cable companies if it wasn't for the extraterrestrials. The extraterrestrials have helped advance our race so much, and the bloodline of the aristocracy are descended of extraterrestrials. David Icke is right about that.
So one thing that the Jezebel encounter that I read was that she had interesting eyes, and you said that she had unique feet.
Jezebel was a beautiful princess. She was breathtaking to look at. She looked like a queen, being in the presence of Obama or someone that she just was. She was such a positive influence on my life, Jezebel Ordias. She was an elder. She was frustrated. She was an elder master. When the extraterrestrial, that's like a Catholic priest and a commander. When you become an elder master, like Elder Master Latan, you can't get married. You can't do certain things, and that's what happened to Jezebel. Also, Bob Renown, who's Canadian French, I've got to give him credit because he had one of the first encounters with the Corinthians, a long relationship with the Corinthians, and he tried to share his contact with the Corinthians with the MUFON and other UFO groups, and they laughed him to scorn, and they persecuted him terribly. And Bob Renown lives at the Canadian border between the United States and Canada, and he does a lot. He has a lot of contact with extraterrestrials, and he is that. I've got to give him credit. If you go to his website and type in Bob Renown, he has some outstanding stuff that the Corinthians shared with him. They shared with him different galaxies and stars and their language and everything. It's right on the internet if you type in Corinthian. And Corinthian is not spelled with a C. It's Korendian. And the Corinthians do a lot of work with the Palladians. The Palladians is another outstanding race. That's the Nordic, the Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish people come from the Palladians, and they are an outstanding, brilliant race as well. We didn't have blondes on planet Earth until the Palladians came. We didn't have redheaded Irish redheaded people until the Omegans came. And the Omegans' blood was originally green, and they interbreeded with us so much. And one thing that the Bible did keep is the angels interbreeded with humans, and that's in the book of Genesis.
Lauren doesn't want me to ever look at more. He's an alien that comes from Star Corps. understand what my mind to be and the gutter. He is a proud big brother. He wants me to see the light. He wants me to do right. The rest doesn't want me to play that DVD of porn. He says I won't marry you.
Okay, and basically, I mean, what I got here is that not only did she help you get over like a pornography addiction that you had at the time.
Well, the one who helped me get over pornography was this wonderful alien named Laurent.
Oh.
She helped me also get over pornography, but this wonderful, I'll tell you how I met him. I met Laurent when I was doing Christmas decorations in Redlands, California, and just like George Adamski had a chemistry with the Venusians that came from Venus, I had a chemistry with the Corinthian people, and it just looked like my grandmother Schroeder says, there has to be a chemistry between two people or anybody, and I felt a strong chemistry with Laurent, and we were friends for a long time, and he shared a lot of stuff with the UFO phenomenon about me, and he told me that I needed to get out, and the aliens are telepathic. They can read you like a book. They know what you're thinking before you say anything. Jesus was part extraterrestrial, and that's why he could read the rabbis and the corrupt people's mind that were trying to put him in a spot and attack him with criticism. And Jesus said, I have sheep that are not of this foe. The Corinthians, Omegans, and Palladians, who I've been in contact with in the past, told me that a Jesus came to visit their dimension and their planet to teach them salvation and right from wrong. And so did the different Hindu leaders. Like Jesus says, I have sheep that are not of this foe. He has followers and people that he's taught in other dimensions and other frequencies and other planets.
Let's get back to Jezebel, because this leads into the song Salame, right? I hope I'm saying it right.
No, not Salami, Salame.
Salame. I said it like the sandwich.
Also,
sorry.
People need to understand that the extraterrestrials use the same alphabet that we do, but it means different things. Like an upside down A. Means something completely different. There are a lot of the Palladians, Venusians, Omegans. There are a lot of the same symbols that we use, and a lot of the same symbols that the Greeks use were taught by extraterrestrials. The Mayas were taught by the Space Brothers, the people from outer space, and so were the Egyptians. And the extraterrestrials were the real people that built the pyramids, not slaves, not Jewish slaves. That was incorrect. The Catholic Church and the Jewish rabbis rewrote a lot of stuff in the Bible.
And okay, I'm going to try to say it. Salame is the greeting.
Salame means hi and goodbye in Corinthian. There, and you can learn more about the Corinthian. Vahe lute eno no tu near means go into the light till next we meet. That's Corinthian.
Vahe lute eno no tu near means go into the light till next we meet. Vahe lute eno no tu near means go into the light till next we meet.
So here's my takeaway. So what I can say is that statistically speaking, I do see no reason why there are not aliens out there in the universe. But I guess what I have problems is
there's thousands of aliens. In fact, Lake Superior is a big underground base of aliens. They have a big underground base in Lake Superior, the biggest lake in the United States and Canada, next to the big lake in Russia. And the aliens have underground bases. The Corinthians have a big underground base under Lake Superior. That's why people see spaceships going in and out of there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I have is I have problems believing that. It's the sort of thing that I think maybe I'd have to see it.
This is how to tell a person UFOs don't exist. It's like telling a person that's never been to a zoo to see an elephant or a zebra or a giraffe. Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it isn't true.
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
You've got to have an open mind. Just like Christian Science teaches, you can be healed through prayer. If you have a doubt, if you're doubting Thomas and you don't believe, and you have a closed mind, you'll never see the success if you're doubting Thomas. If you bind your mind in failure and misfortune all the time, and don't reach out for the light of success, you'll just stay in the darkness of failure and dismay. You've got to have hope. You've got to have faith, and you've got to believe in the unknown. There's a lot of things out there that we don't understand, but they're true and they're for real. And if you open up your mind and your thought and your body, I want to believe in UFOs. I want to see UFOs. I want to see aliens. Like my music teacher Bill Provost says, when you rule your mind, you rule your world. You are what you think. You are what you believe. You will see UFOs come true. Just like when everybody went to school. And if you studied anything you studied, math, arithmetic, algebra, or you have the faith that you can get good grades, you'll get good grades. But if you have a failure mentality, you'll only get failure.
So keep an open mind.
Jesus says, what a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Keep an open mind. That's what you're saying.
Open mind, and you'll see the things of say, I open my mind, my thought, and my body, and my frequency to accepting and believing in UFOs, and you will see UFOs. Interesting.
I haven't seen one yet, but if I do, I'll let you know.
Open your mind, you will. Open your mind and your thought, you will. You know, there's a hymn in the Christian Science hymnal, oh, do not bar your mind against the light of good, but open wide, let in the word, in truth will be your food. You've got to have an open mind. That's the only way you'll learn.
On that we can agree.
The Bible says, except you become as a child, to leave the old for the new.
Yep, I totally agree with you with that. I think that having an open mind and just...
And if you focus and meditate, I want to see what people see, people that have seen in UFOs. I want to see what has made other people successful. You learn from people that have made it. You learn from other people's experience. People say to forget about the past. It takes the past to make the future. Organized religion and the government wants to blind people that UFOs don't exist, but they do.
Yeah, one thing that I can agree with you with is it's absurd to say that there are no aliens out there because the universe is such a gigantic place. It's almost like you're making an assertion that can never be proved.
Well, it's just tough to what I learned from Doris Day, that famous actress. Your success in action. Believe that, accept that, know that. You're a winner, not a loser. Believe that, accept that, and know that. That's what New Thought teaches. That's what Christian Science teaches. That's what Christ Jesus came to teach. Faith of the things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You got to have a faith. You got to believe.
I mean, thanks a lot for the discussion.
You're welcome. Anytime, call me, and I'm happy to talk.
Thanks a lot, David. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye. Well, that's about all for this episode. I hope you found it interesting. I know I did. As I hinted to before, this interview was challenging and it was hard at times to get a word in edgewise. I also wanted to draw out as much of the story as I could without interrupting. That said, I'm unable to believe David's extraterrestrial claims. I mean, how could I if I don't have any evidence? And it's not up to me to prove that something doesn't exist. Anyway, with all that said, David was a great sport for being on the show, and he is by far one of the most interesting people I've ever spoken with. I would be honored to grab lunch with him the next time he's in Montreal. Remember that if you would like to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or Android, or just listen to previous episodes in your browser, you can always go to shareaslicepodcast.com. The intro and outro music for this show is by Kromatiks Music and is used with permission. All other songs are written and performed by Liebe Hart and used with permission as well. So please do me a favor and go to iTunes and rate this show with 5 stars and leave a review if you can. It would really help. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you'll be back next time.
Teleportation through space. Teleportation through space. My voice comes out of my face, and it teleports to you through space. The particles of me create a wave of sound crashing on the shore of your ear. The technology of the age brings us near. Together we can conquer any fear. My voice travels through the tubes, and the amps, it makes its way to you. My voice travels through time and space. That's a 4-dimensional interface. Teleportation through space. Teleportation through space. My voice comes out of my face, and it teleports to you through space. There used to be a space for my car, but now that space is closed. There used to be a space between you and me, but now that space is closed. There is a space in my heart for you. Is there a space in your heart for me too? The earth is floating in space. Its vibrations go all over the place. Even the Corinthians and all the aliens feel the vibration.